Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome to Refugee Camps in Focus, which is taking place as part of Forced Migration and the Arts, a monthly online series that aims to create space for people with lived experience of forced migration, artists, academics, and activists to meet for conversation, to share ideas, and possibly also explore ways of collaborating with and supporting one another. Today's session is in two parts. The first part is the one that we are in right now, which is starting at 4 p.m. and ending at 5:30. After this, we have another session which starts at 6 p.m. and then ends at 7:30 p.m. That is UK time. Without more from me, I hand over to our speakers who will introduce themselves briefly, and then before we go into a substantive discussion. So we'll start with Subthiga, and then go to Mudadi, and also hear from Kamoso, John, and then if Isaac is in, if he lets me know, we'll also hear from Isaac. Over to you, Subthiga.
Hi, thanks. Hello, everyone. I'm Subthiga. I'm currently a researcher. I'm pursuing my PhD. I'm also a visual artist and a photographer. I'm interested in the visual materials of the refugee community. I've been working with the Sri Lankan refugee community residing in India. There are about 130 camps in Tamil Nadu, southern part of India. So I've been volunteering and also conducting research with this community. I'm particularly interested, my research focuses on the visual materials, particularly the documents and the family photograph albums, because I do believe visual materials can often deeply convey the political stories of these displaced communities. So I thought this could give me a more narratives of their experiences. So I conduct my research primarily in India, but recently I had a chance to visit Sri Lanka and work with the repatriated communities in Sri Lanka who have been residing in India as refugees and decided to repatriate back. So for a photography project, this gave me a even more of detailed view on the experiences, particularly here with the refugee camps, because the reason they gave me why did they decided to leave also gave me an understanding of the current situation in the with the refugee community here. So this is my work that I'm currently doing.
Thank you very much. We'll come back to the issues you raised, but first we hear from Mudadi.
Yes. Am I audible? Okay, thank you so much. My name is Mudadi Saidi. I'm a Congolese national residing in Kakuma Refugee Camp. I am a awarded visual artist, art facilitator, writer, and the co-founder of Heritage and Craft. And also I act as a program coordinator of ART YETU, which is a youth empowerment program. And our aims is to nurture the talent, to empower youth in visual art skills. So And also I am a researcher, and so far I have presented my research project in ECR conference, which was in England 2 months ago. So thank you, and I'm very happy to be part of this program.
Thank you very much, Mudadi. Kamoso.
Yes, good evening. This is Kamoso Jean Bertrand. I'm currently staying in Kakuma Refugee Camp. Actually, I'm a filmmaker, and also I'm a co-founder of Photofilm for Change. It's actually an arts-based, community-based organization, and our focus is actually on media arts and performing arts. So that's where we are just focusing our activities. And I have been living here in Kakuma Refugee Camp for almost 7 to 8 years now. And actually, Kakuma Refugee Camp is a multinational and multicultural refugee camp, and it has various talents and arts. So, of which in our organization, we have realized that those arts are not used by the artists in order just to make those particular talents or arts their professions. Now it's where we have focused in order to assist our fellow refugees to make their arts their professions. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to have a great discussion this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So maybe I suppose if our first question is maybe if we could talk about the where you are best. What is happening there? And we start the way, yeah.
Okay, so I feel the refugee camps here in India, I already mentioned you, there are about 132 camps right now, and it's 130, sometimes it's 128. Few camps are removed, then new camps are made, but the camps have been always above 100 in number in Tamil Nadu here. And these camps were formed after the 1983 conflict in Sri Lanka. And the number of camps have not reduced, which means still there are a lot of refugees. Even when the civil war has ended in 2009, the refugees have not decided to go back. So these refugee camps, even when I say they are the significant problem of these refugee camps is the confinement of these communities in the camp boundaries. They are allowed to work, but they have a time scheduled to work. They should be back in the evening by 6. They can go out for work. Particularly, I have to mention there are two types of refugees here in the Sri Lankan refugee communities. There are two types of refugees in Tamil Nadu. There are camp refugees and there are other group non-camp refugees. These non-camp refugees are the communities who were there in the camp but decided to leave the camp and stay outside. Depending, they have a little they have decided to leave the camps because they do not want to take the money that the government gives them as allowance, that they can manage their daily lives with their work. And also particularly they move out because they can get a better education or a better work if they live outside the camps. So but they are also refugees, but they stay out of the camps. There are very few number considered to the communities, those who are staying inside the camps. But the people I'm here, I want to stress on the problems faced by the people inside the camps, because they are confined within these camp borders. The local community people are not allowed inside, so this local integration is not there. Even when they go to work, their salary allowances are very limited and less, considering the same work that they do with the Indian population. So they don't have enough support from the local community. Even if the local community are supportive, they are not supportive in the kind of embracing them and giving them the equal status of like the Indian citizens do. And in education, now I feel in the camps, earlier the government had given, even now there are facilitations for free education and stuff, but also now I feel inside that camps there are a lot of school dropouts, children who do not finish even their higher education. And even if they want to do college or graduation, there are a very few people who actually finish school and go to college. So these kinds of problems do exist in the camps. And the other major problem is that the political parties here have promised, they do promise them for citizenship, and a recent citizenship act which denied citizenship for the Sri Lankan refugees is also a turnover, like a kind of a big problem with the communities who believe that they will get citizenship after this prolonged stay. And the political parties usually use this as a card to say that during each elections, each political parties promises that the Sri Lankan community will get the citizenship status, but this has not turned to be fruitful any time. So believing that they will get the citizenship, the community is still living, and they also do not want to go back to their own homeland, Sri Lanka, because they are not very, even it's been more than a decade after the war is over, but they are not still sure about their livelihood developments when they move back to Sri Lanka. So now the second generation who have been born in India do not know how their homeland is. So they believe that India is their homeland, and they do not like to go back to their go back to Sri Lanka. So this is a kind of situation where they are not able to decide to stay or to go back, and even if they stay, they are still considered as refugees. This status is not changing, so that's the big issue that the Sri Lankan refugees are facing right now.
Thank you, Subthiga. How about you, Mudadi and Kamoso? What is happening where you are?
Okay, am I going first, or Mudadi?
You can go first.
Okay. Actually, Kakuma Refugee Camp accommodate more than 250 refugees, because it has two areas, Kakuma Refugee Camp and Karabari Settlement. So they are almost together in the same place. And those more than 250 refugees are from different nationalities. They are from more than 10 countries. And all of them are just living in this same refugee camp. Actually, currently we are in the process of local integration, whereby the government is trying to transit from hosting refugees and refugees being dependent on humanitarian aid, whereby they can just make refugees self-reliant and self-dependent. So this is actually the process now we are in. So actually, it's not yet clear because they are still trying to make some awareness to refugees, and in order all of them can just be aware on what is going to happen, because not all of them actually are willing to be locally integrated, because some of them just fear to get citizenship, of which they don't want. But awareness and communications are still underway. And also, Kakuma Refugee Camp, I can say, in different sectors, it's like in education or in health, it's like it's doing a bit better compared to other refugee camps. Like for me, I went to two refugee camps, and then I can say Kakuma Refugee Camp is doing a bit better. Concerning education, there is primary and secondary education, which is, it was free of charge up to secondary education, but recently they introduced some little payment. I thought it's in that way of just local integrating people so that they can be aware of just not continue to depend on humanitarian aid. I think it's in that process. And also UNHCR and the government of Kenya are just are working together to make sure that refugees are accessing different services that they want. And also, it seems that almost everything is just being done by the UNHCR, but now it's just being transited or to the government of Kenya, since we are just in the process of being locally integrated, and then in the near future it will, so everything will be handled by the government of Kenya. Maybe I can just hand over to Mudadi to just talk more about or anything that I left behind. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And I would like to emphasize on some challenges related to art. We have so many challenges.
Mudadi, before we go to the art, maybe
yes,
if you could give us your perspective on what's happening where you are.
Okay, so thank you so much for that questions. You know, currently we do have so many challenges due to economic issues that are now across the world. So it's affected also the refugee community, because you may see that you may just go and buy some stuff, some food stuffs with the little money that you have for those previous years, which is not same for now. You may see that with a little money that you have, and once you go to the market, that the money cannot maybe sustain you for a living. And then that issue come across, and it even makes that there's a lot of issues of theft and kidnapping and killing nowadays in the refugee community. So, and so far, even UNHCR has published 10 people have so far been killed. And this fact is that because of the economy issues that is affecting both sides of even both the host community and refugee community in Kakuma Refugee Camp and Kalobe settlement.
Yeah, thank you. And if Isaac is in, if you could introduce yourself and talk about what's happening where you are. Okay, Isaac is not here yet. So on that note, we go to talking about the art. How did the art start for you? How did it start?
Okay, so art is something that is a passion for me. So I started art when I was younger. So, and it just grow as I was growing. So I grow with that. And also, so I just when after reaching at certain age, I discovered that I was very passionately deeply in art, and whereby I started my own project, and it was in 2019, and it was not easy because starting a project with nothing but with something. So I don't know if you can just understand that. It is like you don't have support, but you are trying to make something big that will impact both sides, even both from the community, refugee community, and from the host community. Because once you give the data, you have to show them that I just reach out to these numbers from the refugee community and from the host community. And I can assure you that I started implementing the idea, and after some month, it got down because of the funding. So, but I didn't lose hope because it is my passion and it is my career too. I just give effort on that, and until I resume the activity, the same project after a year, it was in 2020. And I can assure the world that after that, I was able to graduate my first cohort in that programs. And then after that, I continuously empowering more people. And up to now, we have reached our target. More than 1,000 refugees and host community were trained in our programs.
How about you, Subthiga?
I feel there's no kind of art exposure to the community that I'm dealing with. So I wanted to actually express the recent publication of a book where the refugees had an opportunity to, where the refugee children, particularly below 16 years, for an event, for a Republic Day event, a call for drawings have been asked, and the refugee children submitted works. And these works, the organizer, when he saw the artworks, he decided that this artwork should be published, and because it dealt with the issues that the refugee children are facing. Even though these children have not witnessed war, they've heard this as narratives from their parents or relatives, because if they are below 16 years, they have not witnessed the actual wars. But the drawings and the artworks that they did have profoundly gave an idea of their conflict situations in their homeland, and also the situations that they are dealing with, about the lack of job opportunities, about the education opportunities that they are missing, and a kind of not worthy situations where they are still named as refugees. And the main theme that came out of these artworks is how much they believe and expect the government to give them the citizenship status, to be considered as humans. So they say that they believe that not just the government, but the people of India, their neighbors, their people who they are actually being friend in the school, being friend in the community areas, are also tagging them as refugees, and they want to leave this tag behind, and they want to evolve as citizens of India. So the artworks are, I believe, and this is the first kind of work that is published. Usually in the Sri Lankan refugee community, there's a dearth of literature, particularly by the refugees who are inside the camps. If you see any kind of literary work or visual narratives or any kind of artworks, it actually comes from the communities who reside in the Western countries, but the actual refugee communities, I do believe, are people who are here in India, because they lack, they are the people who did not have enough money or support to travel to other Western countries. And still they are in a kind of this refugee situation where they cannot even move out of their camps. So they still depend on the government for their daily allowance, their monthly cash dolls that the government gives, their um, rice and pulses. They depend on the government for their clothing, vessels, or anything, that they still depend on the government. They earn a very little amount of money, which is not enough for their, uh, which is just enough to live with their daily everyday life routine is manageable. Otherwise, they are still in a kind of very pathetic situation. But the literature or the artwork does not reflect on these communities. The artworks that we see about the Sri Lankan communities, or the literature that we read about the Sri Lankan communities, are from the people who are residing in the Western countries do write. But the Sri Lankan community who are here in India, particularly in camps, their work have not been made public. So I believe this work is a kind of an eye opener to say, or to say, and also give the world an idea of how their lives have been pathetic. And also I believe that the reason for this, that there's a very limited works with these communities, is that there's a lack of structured art programs. There are not opportunity for artists. Even if the children or any people who are inside the camps, they don't have this transformative stage to become an artist. And because they are not even allowed to go outside the camps, I think that prevents them from exploring other kinds of opportunities to actually express whatever they want to. So the boundaries that the government has fixed to stay within the camps also, I feel, is a boundary that have limited their artistic potential.
Thank you. And I think it was Ray. You wanted to say something? Oh, it seems Ray has dropped off.
Yes,
so
yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. You want, yeah, carry on.
Yes, can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the chance. My name is Ray Bulambo. I'm a four-time winner filmmaker based in Kakuma Refugee Camp. And I've been here for the last 11 years now. I would like just to highlight some few things related to the refugee perspective. And something that people should know, there's two types of support that refugee gets. There is one is resettlement, and the resettlement is not for everyone. And sometimes you feel like the number is not that big, but it's for few people to go abroad. And the second thing is for integrations, which is now being on board, being on table, so that at least we can get a chance to be integrated and have access to all things that's required. And the third thing is voluntary repatriations, depend on how the situation that makes you to leave your country. So when we talk about the integrations now, is where we come in, especially for some of us who have quite spent a long time being in the camps, and they feel like there's no another way to go home, since the aspect and the situation that make us flee our own country. But also, refugee, we have this narrative of like we need to have a space where we can address our things freely and show the potentials and the experience that I've got. So I've been able to bring some good impacts right now. The issues that we're not being given freedom to at least get more exposures. Like some of us have gotten a chance to go outside Kenya to go and do the work, but when it comes to documentation, it's come a problem. See? But once you get a chance at least to be given a documentations, passport, whatever, that's really facilitates to get off from things that will really help us at least to feel free and make more living. Because you may find sometimes like right now, the life in the camp is not that easy. People are struggling. The food that people are collecting from food distribution center, the things that the food that's given for 1 month can last for 2-3 days. Imagine how do you think people to survive? But with the opportunities that people have been getting in and out, that can let us at least to gain a living where we are. And you can freely integrate it. You can't tell me to integrate, to get integrations here in Kenya, where I am, well, and I don't see the future of my life, the future of my family. Because since I'm being blocked from the opportunities, do you think that I'm going to be integrated? I will still wait for the opportunity, which I don't know where it's coming from. But once we get a chance at least to be given the equality, like refugee and host, things from there will be at least very young to get that integration. Thank you so much. That was
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. And then this question is for, we'll pick up from how from Subthiga, and maybe if you could just talk about what's happening around the arts in the refugee camp in Kenya. And this is for all of you who are in Kamoso.
Okay, maybe let me just add on what my colleagues have said. I'm going to talk about media arts and performing arts, because so that's my my work focus. Actually, in Kakuma Refugee Camp, we have so many talented youth in different arts parts, and then so many filmmakers have been making films, documentaries, and dramas, but the issue we have is that even if they make films, they don't get to the larger audience or just get to people outside the camp. So that's actually an issue that I have realized, of which so many people are trying to follow their passion, but unfortunately they don't have that support to make their work just go to the larger audience. And concerning to the performing arts, I think this is where we have a very big issue, because those people who have the talents in performing arts, I think for now, they're almost many of them are discouraged because their talents are not monetized. So let me just use that way, because most of the time, there are some humanitarian organizations here in Kakuma Refugee Camp that sometimes organize some events, and then they call those artists to perform, either comedians, singers, or dancers. They come and perform, and then they just give them a little amount of money or some refreshment, and then they go home. Or sometimes they just organize some competitions whereby they can just offer some awards to the some 2, 3 to 5 best performers, of which some of the artists are not happy with the selections. Now it's like their talents are overlooked, of which you can just be working hard to do some practices to just be following other artists from all over the world and then to copy from them. But unfortunately, while you are here without any support, you end up leaving this career because there is not that support that can make artists to continue in their career. I think that's actually the issues that are happening around arts here in Kakuma Refugee Camp, focusing on performing arts and media arts. But at least in media arts, mainly photography and videography, they are a bit doing well because there are some little support, and then for them, they can be working as freelancers, of which it can help a bit. Yeah, thank you. I can see Mudadi has something to add.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, over to you, Mudadi.
Okay, thank you once more. You know, in Kakuma Refugee Camp, we do have so many problems related to art. So first of all, I will start the problem related to art that I myself I was among those kind of things that happened recently. In 2017, I was part of the art project, which called Artists for Refugee Project, FR. It was led by DRC, Danish Refugee Council, under support with UNHCR. So what happened? So the programs ran for 2 years. So if I don't forget, and then it went out. So, and after that, there's nothing that happened that can show that this person was part of this program as an artist. Both of them are just at home, and they do have artworks, but there's no one who can buy those kind of art. So it looks like you are doing work for nothing, because you don't benefit something back for a living. And we are here so we do business. So can you give me knowledge and I go to sell that knowledge? But in conclusion, we can say that there's no feedback, because they didn't have a channel, really channel to follow. If it was really a problem, that project was really a problem for the refugee community, it could be sustained up to now. And maybe they could just see the fruit of that particular programs. And even now, they do train more than 100 refugees artists. We don't have even a gallery in Kakuma Refugee Camp. We do have visitors, we do have buyers, but they just move around the camp. But they have money, but where to put those money? There's no place where we can exhibit our work, we can present our works. There's no place. And if really those INGOs, international non-governmental organization, could really have projects that could sustain, and after their target, people can come and see, okay, this gallery was established by that particular NGO. So it will be benefitable for both sides, even for their side and for the community, refugee side. So, and then we have also art-related problems. You know, here in Kakuma, as I mentioned, some of them, with the non-existence of gallery, it's one big challenge, because even I do have my artworks, but there's no even place where I can sell them. Another one is materials that you're using are not around Kakuma. You have to send someone who is in Nairobi, from Kitale, those down counties, so that you get materials, which is a big problem too. And then also those materials are very higher. You may see that you buy material at 10,000, 15,000, and then you do your art pieces, and then someone come and give you 3,000, while you spend more than 10,000 for materials. Are you seeing those kind of challenges that people are facing? Another challenge is that Kakuma people takes art as a tools of entertainment. So there I can mention that you know, we have those kind of performing arts such as music, dramas, dancers. So they do that, and people they do much involved in those kind of things, and they left others out. So maybe I can just request from you to advocate for the refugee side, the refugee community. So they have all the potentials, but they're not supported. Because if you support someone, it must be seen. And then once it is seen, it has to be established. Another problem is that those kind of buyers, people who are working around those NGOs, they do go to Lodwar, they do go to Nairobi and buy those artistic tools, do those artworks. While in Kakuma, they left artists in Kakuma who does the same things. So you see that they don't value artists. And then those same artists are being put in their projects. But when they want to contribute for their reliance, they went far and they left them back in the camp. Thank you so much.
Thank you. How about you, Ray? Is there anything you want to add about what's happening around art at Kakuma?
Okay, just the most important things have been mentioned by my colleagues. I'll just keep reminding on anything that I've been doing as advocacy for the refugees. First things, the reason why funder give them money is because refugee get access to those money and get resilience and forget about the trauma. But the problems comes in whereby people just advocate for that money. And once the money come in and it goes straight again to these NGOs, whereby people get misused and the money just finish without benefit from that money. Then the second thing, the refugees, I believe that the perspective of refugee back then to the time that I came here, 2010, it has already changed because people made more sacrifice. That's why right now, at least refugees are being considered their art, and even these who are doing theaters, films. Back then, they used to bring everyone from Nairobi. If it's a performing artist, even if it's a filmmaker, but right now, people have made more sacrifice to believe on these people who are here. The second thing is that we need an hub. It's like a gallery where people can display their stuffs, where people can showcase their things at this, because we normally receive more than thousands and thousands of visitors in Kakuma. But where they need to go and see those stuff that are being made with refugees, there's no space. They cannot come to your home and see that. But if people have that space where once they get in, they ask a gallery or a hub where they can find art, they will get there, and anything that they want, they can get it from there. So these are some of the things that are keep letting refugee down. And once the people advocate for them, once money comes in, there is no impact for that money. And also, at any time that people advocate for the money, this is what we call follow-up. People need to be followed exactly to know what the man has been done. But I don't know the problem is this donor. Sorry for saying that. We just give money for certain NGOs, then the NGO just use the money and they've just been sent the report through the Word form or Excel form and just receive them and satisfy. No, get in the field and understand the situation. Refugee you need to hear them what's happening because for their own benefit. It's not for the people working for them, it's for the benefit of the refugees. But once we get to that, I think the perspective will change. Because this game has been going all around here, and people have been not like, once you raise the voice talking about that, you'll be shout. And we don't want to lose our life since we came home. We still have our trauma in our mind, but we need a space where we'll be free and fair so that we live a standard life with like someone else and not call ourselves as a refugee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. How about you, Subthiga? What are you finding? What is happening around art in the refugee camps in India?
Okay, actually, I'm glad that the other refugee communities still, I can hear there are limitations, but I'm glad that they are at least allowed to express themselves, that they are free to document their lives, which is not possible with the community here. Their artistic expression or self-representation is very limited here. They live under constant surveillance, which actually adds another layer of complexity to their already existing challenges. Here, the refugee community is under surveillance, where they are not allowed to shoot videograph or photos. They are not allowed to form a art community or an art forum to express themselves. Like you can witness with other refugee communities, like in a Bangladesh refugee camp, you have an art project running where they shoot and photographs of their daily lives, where their representation is given to the outside world. Here, that restriction within the camps does not allow them to further initiate to such kinds of art project. So this restriction on visual documentation not only affects their ability to express themselves creatively, but I think it also hinders their capacity to share their stories and experiences with the world. So I think this recognition of art as a form of storytelling to empower the refugees should be advocated by the government or the NGOs. But I also have to mention there are no international organizations that are working with the Sri Lankan refugee community here in India. They are not allowed to work. There's only one local NGO that works with the Sri Lankan communities, and this NGO focuses only on their repatriation process. So there's no kind of any external support for the refugees to actually engage in any kind of artworks. So this is the situation here.
Thank you. And then coming back to you in Kamoso, I thinking about the art forms that have been mentioned. There was talk of performance arts, media related arts. Someone mentioned music as well. What else? What other art forms are being practiced, and where are they taking place? And anyone can start.
Well, okay. I've been a theater practitioner for the last 7 years. The theater has been doing great, and I'm really thankful because the methodology that people used to do theater became a different methodology. People are just used theater like back then, where people just come watch and go. But I wanted to involve people, participate in educative theater, so that at least you can bring the change to the community, whereby we engage people, the community, and then get the feedback. After getting the feedback for the community, now we invite the representative from NGOs, talk to them about the problem that our community are facing, at least so that once we organize a meeting, they will get to the community and see the block leader, and they organize the meeting so that at least the change can be bringing. And then we have also, and it's being done in we have 2 camps, being done in Kakuma and as well as the new camp of settlement Kalobeye. Any event that is happening by the organization, they do call these people to go and perform. And others, once they organize their own performances just within the community, where they involve people, they do some publicity. They're going around doing some comedy by informing people and which day, date, place, where it's going to take place. Once the day arrived, people gathered and people started doing the play. And music also, musicians also have been doing great at the moment, though despite that they're not getting anything since because their chance, I don't know where it still lies, but they've been just expecting something from this NGO, which is not helpful, to be honest. And others who are comedians and who are just anytime that are the theater performance other place, they do invite this musician to go and support them, and the comedian as well to go and perform in the same event, at least so that once they gather together, at least they bring something called a show or an event that will alert people and know what is happening here. That's the side of refugees. And then the side of NGOs around, what they normally do, have their own events, then prepare for the topic, they call a team, they give you a contract, you sign, whether you like or not, you're going to sign it because, okay, you don't have otherwise, because that's the only thing that you can get, you can benefit from it. Since you know that's whatever you're getting here is not that enough, but you have to do it by your own, because no one is there to talk for you. You have to talk for yourself. You have to raise your voice so that at least you can be heard. And then when it comes to performing and in drawing, they're just there. They don't have a place where to go and exhibit their stuffs. They're just there doing their things. Like it's like It's like something that to be published. They're just doing their things and you get published. And this time around, we have seen, okay, the way to keep helping each other is now like, once I'm a filmmaker there, my friend Mudadi just do something, I go and capture that picture and portray with a caption, then put online. Whoever will come across, like, I want to meet him, you just meet him on that way. That's how things work here. Unless I left something else, my colleagues will add on that.
Thank you. How about you, Mudadi and Kamoso?
So thank you. So maybe you can just rework on the question again so that I may understand you well.
Just what are the art forms that you are seeing in Kamoso, and also where are they taking place? How are they being received? Who are the actors? That sort of.
Okay, so what can I say that is there's a things of manipulation and misusing. They can just call you for a work as a refugee. You can just be paid maybe 1,000 Kenya shillings, maybe 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 Kenya shillings. But when they hire someone from Nairobi as an expert, he came here, he can be paid millions of Kenya shillings because is not a refugee. So maybe we do face challenges because of that name. Remember, we are not refugees with our only willing. It's something that happened by circumstances. So, but if you can mistreat someone because of his status, remember, no one chooses to be a refugee. So what I can call upon those organizations, NGOs around the world which work in the refugee camps that try to use, not even to use, to take refugees at the same level as a host. Because once you take them as a host, first of all, you will value them, not even their as their humanity, but also their work. So recognize them and give them chance to perform. So we have all those potentials that those guys from outside brought here, but we don't be given that chance. And then imagine you have a call, you call artists, visual artists, you call people who does films, photography to come for a trainings, and then at the end you have an event which can be supported for those people who have been trained by your organization, but you call someone else out abroad to come and cover the particular event while you trained those refugees artists in the same issue. Why not give them an opportunity now to show up what has been taught during that particular moment? This is what we don't have here in the refugee camps. And then you may see that there is a refugee act that has been out, Refugee Act in 2021, that there is an integration, but it's something that is on paper. Because when it comes to opportunity, we are not integrated. As my friend said that, it's not everyone who can accept to become a Kenyan. So let me say that, because he sees which kind of opportunity am I going to get after changing my status, while as a refugee I'm not being supported. This is how we can where we can start from here, so that it will take us on the next level. But if at this point of perspective, it is taken as not as serious, nobody can just accept to be conducted, to be taken as you want. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Kamoso, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would like to
Yeah.
mention a recent event that happened in June here. This was the public event where the refugees were allowed to participate. It was a refugee food festival. So refugees from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and the refugee communities here living in Chennai had the opportunity to participate. It was as a whole refugee food festival where the Sri Lankan refugee communities are the dominant refugee community here in Tamil Nadu. So I felt there was a huge acceptance and proud with the local communities. So if there's a chance, if the government gives them a chance to exhibit or give them the liberty to participate or give the liberty to organize, there would be more organization who would be willing to support, fund, or do these kinds of collaborations with the refugee communities, which will give them the opportunity to participate. I guess there's the problem of not giving any support is the reason that the refugee community has not started to actually work on these kinds of platforms. Even if they do work, they believe that they don't have the opportunity to exhibit or take it outside. So this kind of hopelessness does not make them give them that enough hope to keep carrying on with their work. That's the reason the students drop out from schools. They go for other kind of labor works. If they feel there's a kind of opportunity that lets them do or give them understand the value of their work, I feel that there will be more kind of these artworks.
Thank you. Thank you. And Kamoso, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, actually, after hearing from Subthiga, I think Kakuma Refugee Camp is doing a bit better in arts practicing, because in Kakuma Refugee Camp, so we have that freedom of practicing whichever art you want, maybe, so which is different from from refugees in India or Sri Lanka. I think I appreciate that in Kakuma Refugee Camp. And in Kakuma Refugee Camp, actually, there are some humanitarian organizations that handle that art sector. Like there is an organization called Lutheran World Services, which is at WF, and that organization actually organizes once a year what we call Kakuma Got Talent, and whereby like refugees just showcase their talents in a competition way. So even if many artists just do not appreciate that because of the selection criteria, and they only select 5, 2, 2, 3 artists, of which is not that better. But I think Kakuma Refugee is doing a bit better, even if there are so many things that need to be done in order to make artwork the profession. Because what we are missing really is that way whereby artists can just feel that art can be their profession, whereby they can earn from their artwork. That's actually what we are missing in Kakuma Refugee Camp, of which I think humanitarian organization that can't go to business, and this one can a bit go to business people, whereby I think those people can be organizing performing events, or can be organizing exhibitions of artwork, whereby people, refugees themselves, can come to support their fellow refugee artists, or can come and buy artwork. I think that one can help. But what I have realized is like those humanitarian organizations that are supporting us in Kakuma refugee camp, they have their way of doing things of which refugees are not really involved in, from the planning to the implementation, of which there are some organizations that are just advocating.
Okay, can I add something, please?
Sorry, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I heard someone say that he wanted to add something.
Yeah, but carry on.
Oh, okay. So I was trying to say that those few humanitarian organizations that are supporting arts in Kakuma refugee camp, so they don't consult refugee artists in order to implement whichever project they want to implement. So they just draft their project, they just bring them to the refugees or to the beneficiaries without involving them from the planning up to the implementation, which is also an issue. So that's why maybe I think also they don't sustain. As Mudadi has said, there was a project back in 2017, and then so it was there up to 2 years, and then it didn't sustain. Maybe they didn't involve artists fully. They were not participating that fully. Maybe that's why that project was not sustainable. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mudadi, you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to add something on what my colleague has said. So, you know, some of my contestants who won my first art competition in Kakuma Refugee Camp were part of those kind of the competitions that are being run by Lutheran World Federation in Kakuma Refugee Camp. So, but you see, there's a problem. You call someone who doesn't have an artistic skills to be a judge on artistic competition. So do you really think that is going to work as a professional? The answer is no. So that is what is happening here. You call someone because he or she is your friend. Maybe you have some relations. So yes, okay, just come and facilitate us to run this project. This is what is happening. And they see maybe if they hire someone who has a knowledge on that particular point, they could not reach their targets. So therefore, they decide to take someone who doesn't have that knowledge. So you see, but recently I said what is happened. I was called to go and sign a contract for the last competition that happened, and then I went there. I told them, okay, for this one you have to pay me this much, and then they said, you are so high. I said, no, I'm a professional and I know what I'm doing. But if you have someone else, just call him or call her to come and facilitate. But for me, if you make this, okay, it's a deal. We go. And this is what these humanitarian agencies are doing. They don't value those people who have talent. It's better they go and take someone who doesn't know anything. For the interest is that, you know, donors also, they have problems because they don't investigate what is happening, because they just see pictures and videos, but behind that video and those pictures, we know the truth, and that's what's supposed to be said. And once you say the truth, you become an enemy. And as you know, we left our countries for a purpose. There's something that happened. Some of us lose friends, relatives, family members. So, and then you are in a safe place, and you cannot maybe be involved in things that can maybe come up with fire. You see, that's what give us some fear. Yeah.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to be honest, because like refugees, people should understand refugees. It's not our willing that we have decided to be a refugee. There is the reason that happened that people become refugee. But it's become very, very hard for people to trust on what someone has. People should know that before we become a refugee, we have something to do in our home. You are doing this. So it's in continuous. That's the reason why we are here and keep doing it. And the other thing is that I'm going to respond to the question that Karen has put in the comments. Like the most problem here in the camp is the promotions and networking. That's the problem. We don't have someone to help us in terms of marketing and promotion. Because let me tell you one thing, you can be able to do this and this, but in a side of NGOs, they can call you to go and do their documentary for 2 minutes documentary, and you get paid. That's their own staffs, and they're going to do their own promotions. But once you do your own projects, none will be there to help you pushing your work. So it remains there. And the other thing about the documentations, about the permit, work permit, these things have been, people have been talking about this for the last 5 years now, but it's never yet reached at the point where people should be given. It's very tough. Yes, there are some of the people that have been mentioned, 1 or 2, 3 people who are, now mostly people based in Nairobi, who are not getting the work permit, but people are just doing apply and reapply. But we hope it's going to be changed. But I believe all of this, I believe in what? Once we get a chance where people can be display their things, once people get a base paper where they'll be able to exhibit their things, a hub or a gallery, I think this will be more of the important, and at least we'll be running things on our own. So no one will be there pushing us, no one will be there guiding us on doing this and this and this, but we'll be doing our own things related to how it's supposed to be done. And the other thing that I'll keep telling people, there is a way of going wider and going deep. Yes, you can go wider by training 100 of people, 200 of people, but where the impact? But once you decide to go deeper, train more than 10 people who will bring the impact and others follow that step, that's what we call an impact. And here in Kakuma, this organization that are working for refugees, they're just doing what we call going wider. Training big number, having pictures, and that's all. Because we have seen people, we have seen a lot of projects that are being run with them here. We're just there, supporting, I think, the little things as long as the life goes on. But when it gets to impact, what are they benefit? Like the competitions that have been done in the camps about it's now on the 11th season. Okay, if you realize on those 11 seasons, look at the first season, the person who won. This is just in the community running up and down, doing nothing. The second season, the person just in the community doing just 0 things. You see, that's not an impact. When you decided to help someone so that it get impacted, and also so that people who are behind him can follow the steps, that person should be left up and keep following up on what's doing, so that at least tomorrow after tomorrow, when someone's come here, will say this, because of the reason why they have gained this and this, and is on the next level, is because he have participated in this competition and that left him up. But once I've participated in the competitions and I've gained this and it still doesn't help, that are useless. It's a waste of time. But I will keep, for me, I'll keep just advocating, indeed, advocating for refugees in order to have their own hub, their own gallery where they can display their stuffs and document on their things. Because according to what Karen say, we can document a short documentary of 3 to 5 minutes where we show the artist's work, what is being done here in the camp. But where do we have a platform where we're going to be published? We don't have a platform. We don't know where to take it. We don't even the channels where to reach a TV station so that they can display that, so the world can see what is happening within the refugee. But once the organization do that, you will see it on the TV there immediately, because they know their channels, they are looking for the funds, they're looking for the all other things. So mine is just that, please, there are artists not just in Kakuma, everywhere in the camps, because we have never had any impact like a refugee from where has done this and this that have impacted as refugees. We normally hear refugees get a chance of this, but at the end of the time, after 2-3 months, the story is finished. But we need people. This are the time I think that we need to lift our socks and start to work on our feet and our ability, because people have ability. We have good writers, we have good filmmakers, we have good artists here in Kakuma, but they're doing nothing. They're just there lying on their opportunities, waiting for just these NGOs comes and give them the little things and can push their lives. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ray. So what we are going to do now is we're going to go into questions, and then we'll come back to our speakers. Does anyone have a question that they would like to ask? If you do, if you unmute, you can put your question to the artists and to the researchers. Hi, Darcy.
Hi, Ambrose. You okay?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good. Firstly, I just wanted to say thank you so much to all the speakers. It's been incredibly insightful listening to you all, and I really appreciate you spending the time to inform us on what's going on where you are. I just wondered, I know that there has been a link or two put in the chat, but whether there can be sort of, I know that somebody else has said this as well, I think Natalie said this earlier, some more kind of resources, if there's anything else online that the speakers have sort of available for people to look at, for people to contact them if needed, all of these kind of sort of bits of detail and information that can continue the conversation past this Zoom call, that would be really, really helpful, because I'd love to kind of keep those sort of links and contacts, because I'm a creative producer here in the UK. I'm currently working for an organisation, and we have a festival called Journeys Festival International, and it is all about centering the voices and arts of refugees and sort of migratory stories. So yeah, it would be really, really great just to have that kind of bank of resources to reflect on and to have a look through. Thank you.
Thank you. So maybe we'll take two more and then come back to our speakers. I see your hand is up, Karen.
Thank you so much. I hope people like Darcy, the lady that just spoke, can join with people that work in the refugee centers to call for work permits from whatever nation they're located in for artists and art-related promoters and agents that come from within the work camps, because these are local people that you either trust them or you don't trust them, but you know them and you know where they live. So this is the very best place. Obviously, people who know about arts promotion and about how to build networks to do that would be welcome volunteers from international organizations to come into many camps to promote these kind of networks. I've lived in Kenya in the past. I know Kenyans for many years, and you guys, if anybody can sell art, it's you guys to the world, okay? And now with internet options to promote art and film, there should be nothing stopping you from doing your own promotion networks. And I just wanted to add that in the United States, where I'm from, we have special categories for artists for work permits and immigration. So if you're an artist, you can get into the United States under these permits, but certainly you would not need to necessarily leave your own country or your where you're at. But certainly your nation, whatever it is, whichever it is, should welcome artists having work permits, because you draw on funding from around the world when you sell art. Okay, so you're going to be bringing in money to whatever nation you're from. It just makes economic sense to allow you to do that. Now, it may not be as fun for the international organizations to advocate for this for you as it is for them to put on these nice little film festivals and art shows and whatever that they film and then they take back to their own country. But what you really need is their help to allow you to work and live and move around in the country that you're in, if they really do want to help and promote these careers, real careers. Okay. And I just draw on Vincent van Gogh. Probably you know who that is, wherever you're from. His brother is the one who became the millionaire, the one who kept and sold his paintings for many decades and years. And he was the agent for Vincent. And I think Vincent died penniless, unfortunately, but his brother supported him for many years in his artwork. And you can do the same for your brothers and sisters there where you are. But you have to have work permits these days. So this is really worth getting any organization that's working with you to advocate for, for the government of the country that you're in, to open this avenue for commerce so that you can work legally, move around the country if you need to, but whatever. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And then Barrington, you want to say something?
Good evening from England, from the UK. My name is Barrington. I've worked previously with Ambrose. Nice to see you again, Ambrose. Congratulations to all of you who've made it here tonight and are able to tell your story. And on that note, in terms of stories, there's a strong connection, understandably, between art and stories. And some of the things that have sprung to mind whilst I've been listening to the practitioners have been about some of the things that have sprung to mind have been about things like, just going to throw out a few words: accountability, outcomes, and in my mind, a kind of common theme of a divide in terms of countries between art and science. And how art seems always to somehow come off worse, which I find very strange, even though I know that it exists. So in terms of accountabilities and listening, if understood the debates and challenges that people are facing, examples being given out of NGOs, being given, by the sounds of it, sums of money, maybe substantial sums of money. And what crops up in my mind is about the accountability in terms of that money, because as has been said, once again, if I've listened to and tracked the conversation correctly, is that the project might be done, but then in terms of that project, there's no real outcome in terms of the economics for either the artist or the community at large. So I don't know, in terms of the organizations that are giving these monies, these funds to these NGOs, whether their policies could be tackled in terms of having credible, valid outcomes, yeah, in terms of young people being skilled, stroke upskilled, because at the end of the day, young people are the lifeblood of all nations. So it concerns me that young people are not being able to, whether it's in Sri Lanka, complete their education, or in other parts, or whether in settlements or so on, to have those goals and those ambitions, and to see them come out in some kind of concrete way. Yeah. So those are some of my thoughts and concerns listening to what's happening here tonight. And as I said, that kind of commonality between the way science seems to be always at the forefront, and for some strange reason, art seems to be at the back, whereas creativity runs through all professions. You know, for those scientists who have managed to make their names into the history books, to use that phrase, they thought outside of the box. They didn't think within the box. They didn't necessarily follow the established guidelines or whatever. And I think there's a lot that can be said for art there, because art encourages people to think outside the box. So maybe there might be a way forward in terms of this debate, to kind of flag some of these things up to the institutions that people have connections with, or funders. As I said, those are just some of my thoughts. And thank you to you all.
Thank you, Barrington. And then I don't know if Rose Simon, if you'd like to speak to your comments, and also Amy, I don't know if you'd like to also say something.
Do you want me to go first, or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Hi, everybody. My name's Amy. I'm an artistic director of a theatre company of Sanctuary that's based in the UK, in Newcastle, which is in the northeast of England. Firstly, just thank you so much for sharing what's happening in all the places that you are speaking from today. It was really, really interesting to hear what's happening generally within those camps, but also within what's happening with artists. I just wanted to share a bit about a project that I'm working on at the moment with a Syrian artist who lived in Zaatari refugee camp for 6 years, and whose family still remains in that camp, but he is now based in the northeast of England, and I'm really interested in this idea of telling stories, and stories that are not usually heard in the UK. So we've been creating a theatre show together over the past 5 years, very, very slowly, and it's just come to the stage last week. So in a way, I'd wanted to share a kind of positive story, I guess, of a refugee camp story that is now on UK stages and is doing really, really well and being heard. So Hamza, whose story it is, we've worked together to put the show on, and it opened last week in a theatre in Newcastle, and it's going on a UK tour. And he had standing ovations, and he's had brilliant glowing reviews, and it's just been really wonderful because sometimes in the UK you feel really angry about the hostility of the immigration system here and the current government here. I won't get into all of that now, but it's quite frustrating. And what was really heartening was to see audiences, packed out audiences every night, standing up for Hamza and applauding, because they wanted to hear his story, and they haven't necessarily heard stories like that and it was a story of, it's a really positive story, but it doesn't shy away from the challenges of living within a camp and the challenges of being an artist in a camp. But it's ultimately quite an uplifting kind of piece as well. And for those of you who are based in the UK, I just wanted to let you know as well that it's going to be touring. So we're going to be in Manchester. I know some of you are Manchester University people. It's going to be in Manchester at home from the 10th to the 12th of October. And we're going to be in London this weekend. And then we're going to Sheffield and Leeds and Sunderland as well. But it would be great to see support for Hamza. And it would be, I feel like I want to be able to share it. We're filming the piece as well. So it would be wonderful to find a way, maybe through you, Ambrose, of sharing. I would love to share the video with those of you who are further afield, if it's something that you were interested in. I'll put the link Thank you. I've just got a question now. I'll put the link here. So our theatre company is called Curious Monkey, and this is the link to the page. The show is called Penguin, and it gives you some information and the tour dates and stuff there. But just to know that there is stories that are being shared over here, and that people are listening and giving lots of support. And I hope to make more of that kind of work as well. It feels really, really important. But thank you for sharing today and giving me an opportunity to speak at the end, Ambrose. Much appreciated, and I hope to see you in Manchester when I'm there.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you very much. And I think we would also say Rose Simon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cameron. Hello. Thank you all very much. It's been absolutely fascinating to hear your stories. My situation's just a little bit different. My project began with anger, as Amy was saying, at the headlines that you get in the UK of there's a single narrative and it's very destructive. And so I started off with the question of what happens if we see refugees as assets, not threats. And what I do is I make art in local public libraries, because I believe libraries are incredibly important for democracy. They're open to everyone. It's a free place where you can go, even if it's in Scotland during the last winter. They were warm places that people could go if they couldn't afford to eat the houses, but it's also a place you can go to educate yourself, to find a community. Art is a fantastic way of people telling their stories, of changing narratives, of empowering people. So I've been working mainly with asylum seekers in, by coincidence, Stratford-upon-Avon, and the good that it does, the mental good that it does, is immediate. One film that some Iranian women made was something about something terribly simple about just walking down the street, being able to show their hair, something that they could be stoned or killed or imprisoned for at home. But simple narratives, and we invite people to the library, and they saw the film, and it was a way of helping people connect and giving an identity and a bit of humanity to something that the government would like us to believe is a threat and unwelcome, and it's a way of making connections above all. So I'm incredibly interested to see what other people are doing. We're going to we put on exhibitions, and all of this is feeding into a play that will happen eventually. It's part of my PhD project, but their stories feed into an adaptation I'm writing of Shakespeare's King Lear, which is a story about division and war and family breakdown and chaos and nihilism. It seems like it's a story of our times. And so what I'm saying is that by looking at a very iconic work of particularly English culture through another lens, it can strengthen our own culture. That Shakespeare wrote about outsiders. He put them center stage and gave them a voice. And so I'm using people who have lost the place they think of as home to look at a story and see if we can find common ground and tell new stories. And so it's a way of creating platform for people who feel overlooked, who are the overlooked.
Thank you very much, Rose.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go back to our speakers for their final comments, does anyone else have anything that they would like to say?
It's really about connecting. It's really about having those links, because I think that sometimes those projects, there's just astonishing work obviously happening in so many places, but it can be a bit isolated, and there's a huge amount of overlap. that it would be great to create some sort of community that can discuss some of the problems and some of the celebrate some of the wonderful things that are happening. I just wanted to add, Amy was talking about Hamza being from Zatari refugee camp, and one project that happened there was a director from Syria who did a production of King Lear with 100 children who are under the age of 15, and most of them not quite a lot younger. And it was just astonishing, because it's not really a play that people would normally use to introduce Shakespeare. It's not normally a play you would do with younger children, but a play about injustice and a play about division and control. It really empowered those children and gave them a reason to get up and move forward each day. I think, there are these astonishing things, but it's quite difficult sometimes to find out about them. Thank you.
And I agree with you completely about the need to build community. That's also part of what I'm hoping that through this series we'll be able to do. We'll be able to connect with each other across art forms, and also across places and time zones, to look at the arts, to look at what's happening with forced migration, to see how we can work together, and also to see what change we can cause together. Yeah, yes, Amy.
Just to say as well, I'm going to put in another couple of links into the chat, which is other organisations. So I'm hearing that there's lots of visual artists on the call, but there's an organisation called D6 Culture in Transit, who are also based in the northeast of England, and they work a lot with refugee visual artists and artists in exile from all over the world, and they have opportunities that come up. So it would be worth looking at their website, and there's sometimes kind of residencies, and that can be it doesn't have to be in person, it can be done via the internet and Zoom or whatever as well. And also Counterpoint Arts, if you don't already know about them, it would be worth looking at their opportunities that come up as well. So I'll just post those two links in that might be useful for people.
Thank you. Gordon Barrington, is your hand up? Yeah, so we'll hear from Barrington, and then we'll go back to our artists and our researchers.
Just briefly, once again, some thoughts that have been sparked by listening to what's been said tonight. And Roz sparked a thought in my mind. And the thought is this: language is such a powerful thing. And if we're talking in terms of certain frameworks, which is how language seems to function. So, for instance, somebody might talk in terms of black and white, men and women. And the key thing that comes to mind is that one of the things I think that needs to happen is that the narrative is challenged. And what I mean by that specifically, and in this case, where we're talking about the kind of concept or status of people being regarded as refugees, and all the assumptions, in particular, the negative assumptions that go with that. In terms of challenging that language, maybe the question that needs to be raised, and for me, it's a fundamental one, it's raw, and it's just come to mind, is that maybe the question needs to be raised about the concept of home, as to where's home. Because on the one hand, yes, physically we're born somewhere, but movements of people have always happened through history. And within that, it's been fully accepted that we function within a global economy. So based on those concepts, why then all these borders? Yeah, like there's just some kind of food for thought, because if the language can be challenged, can be restructured, then the parameters and potentially the borders, physical, mental, and otherwise, might then begin to disintegrate. Because I think as long as these things exist, these frameworks, and how these lenses that sometimes we are forced to see through, the things will very much remain the same, and we'll be having this conversation again within 10 years' time, if not less. Like I said, food for thought, sparked by the conversation.
Thank you, Barrington. So we go back to our speakers. Is there anything that you would like to add? What are your concluding remarks? Any comments? Any final words? And also what are your hopes, and how do we get there?
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so first of all, I can say thank you for you to connect us as a refugee with the world. And then secondly, I can just ask a question to you. What is next after this? So maybe I would like to know what is the plan after organizing these sessions. Which perspective do you have? That is two. And then the third one is it able for you to connect us with other networks abroad so that it can be easy for us, people from the refugee community, to showcase our works? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll hear from the others, and then we'll come back.
Yes,
yeah.
Well, thank you once again. Mine, I will not be having a lot to say, but I would like to say thank you so much for tuning in, because I'm a storyteller. I love telling stories. I love telling stories. And anytime that I'm sharing the story with someone's there, I know I inspire someone. And for the feedback that I get inspired as well. That's the only hope that makes me still survive in this refugee camp. The other thing is that are we about to run a project? And whether we get support or not, we keep doing it for the benefit of the community, as long as we change the community. That's all. We are running a project. I would like to answer. We are running a project on theater. That's we are going to go around the schools, secondary school, train all the theater clubs, and then from there we will be training them on specific theme, especially that are affecting the refugee themselves, because we cannot bring something that's out of their minds. So we normally bring things that are related to them. And then after that, theater. So as we grow, we'll find a way out how we are going to create a platforms where at least we'll bring all the artists together to wherever they have their own things to showcase, since we not have a physical one. But our online also works a lot this nowadays, to be honest. We should be active online, my fellow colleagues, refugees. We're going to create a platform whereby at least we get an item from refugee that will be posting there. We never know who can see it or who can watch it. I think from that linkage, I think we are going to get at least some impact, and as well as from you. Anytime that we are sitting with you, sharing the story with you, we hope that when we come across any opportunity, kindly share with us, so at least to impact others' lives. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you for organizing this, and it's an opportunity to bring out what is needed here in the situation of India. So as someone said, I also value this point that no one is holding you there not to express yourself. You don't have kinds of opportunities or means, but it is also important for the refugees to realize that art is significant, creative. It gives a creative documentation to amplify their voices, to ask for their rights. So I believe that they understand that the power of art would give them some kind of exposure, so they can also take art as a means to fight for their rights. So that is what I feel it is important for the refugee community to realize. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you everyone who all spoke. Thanks.
Thank you, Subthiga. And I think we We've got Kamoso as well. He's dropped out. Okay, so I'll answer Mudadi's question. For my part, you know, the hope that I've got is that through these conversations, we do what we are doing now. You know, we meet from where we are. We look at what is happening where we are. We look at the work that we are doing. We also explore possible ways of working with and supporting one another. Like there are a number of suggestions that have been given already by the speakers, by you, Mudadi, as well, everyone, that we can work on and build on. But what I would like us to do is I would also like us to do this, you know, together, so that it's not coming from one person, but it's something that we are in it and we are, you know, collaborating on a building as a collective or as a community. So this series is a beginning. The next steps, you can also feed into those next steps. You know, for example, you could say, right, okay, Ambrose, this is what we need to do next. This is how we do it. And chances are I'll say, yes, let's do it. So, so I'm also conscious that we are almost 15 minutes over our time. So we'll stop here. But while we are stopping here, also to remind you that we've got another session taking place from 6 p.m. until 7:30 p.m. UK time. Right now, it's actually taking place starting 15 minutes from now. So you are also welcome to join, to listen in to that conversation as well. Without more from me, I will say thank you and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.